KBTC, a viewer-supported community service of Bates Technical College.
From KBTC Public Television Studios in Tacoma, Washington. Welcome to the Steve on the Street podcast, a closer look behind the headlines as public policy and current affairs impact the real lives of real people.
Welcome to the Steve on the Street podcast, produced by KBTC Public Television and its public affairs program, Northwest Now. I'm your host of the Steve on the Street podcast, reporter and photojournalist Steve Kiggins. Today's episode focuses on immigration. And what we're seeing more so these days than we've really seen in our recent memory is an escalation of federal agencies clamping down on illegal immigrants. So we're going to check in with our neighbors, our undocumented neighbors who are living among us and living, frankly, in fear of what their future holds. Next in the podcast, take a listen to our coverage on Northwest Now. I've spoken with folks who are part of or very closely knit within the Hispanic community here in the South Sound. Some of them share with me a real sense of fear spreading through their community. They fear speaking out, or fear that they can't call police if they're the victim of crime, or fear of being incarcerated and deported from the only country they've called home.
Breaks in my heart.
Jamie Ortiz made her way from Yakima to the Northwest Detention Center in Tacoma Thursday morning. She says ICE detained her husband on Monday.
He was on his way to work, supporting his family. I have a chronic condition. I can't work.
Ortiz shared this clip with Northwest Now. The video is posted to her social media page that tracks ICE activity in and around Yakima. This video shot Thursday morning shows immigration officials detaining a man along a busy street. Ortiz says scenes like this are only increasing.
You don't know whether they're going to be sent to Alcatraz. You don't know whether they're going to be flown over the ocean and dropped out of the back of a plane.
Whatever this chaos is can really teach us to continue to be strong.
Priscilla Desiderio is deputy director at Mi Centro, a community-based nonprofit serving Latino and indigenous populations with social, education, and small business services and more in the heart of Tacoma's Hilltop neighborhood. Desiderio says the threat of deportation has gripped her community in fear.
The hate crimes have increased. But people are being more quiet about because they're scared of being deported.
Desiderio says it's not only her clients that are at risk, she's worried about her own future too.
And I'm having a baby soon, so that's also going to become a mixed status for me. And now I have to start thinking, well, if I get taken, do I have to start creating a family plan where I leave my kid with somebody else because I don't know the reality of DACA in the future.
Desiderio says she's holding on to hope and praying the chaos doesn't tear her community or family apart.
All we wanted from the beginning is the American dream, right? The American dream to me is safety, love, in a place where crime does not exist.
In Tacoma, Steve Kiggins, Northwest Now. Next in the podcast, take a listen to an extended interview with Mi Centro's deputy director, Priscilla Desiderio. Really a bright, engaging young woman working down in Tacoma at Mi Centro, working with a community that's, quite frankly, frightened. Pay close attention to this interview because she ends this interview with a stark warning for all of us.
Teaching them how to fish, essentially.
Teach them how to fish, they can fish for themselves kind of concept.
Yes.
Yeah,
we try to teach them their rights, how to navigate the systems, what to ask for, and also what to look for. So if somebody is discriminating against them, we can help them navigate through that as well. But it's just, very difficult with language barrier and also statuses. We have mixed family statuses that come from, different countries, or their kids were born here, but they're not, they don't have any type of protection here in the States. And so a lot of our clients get taken advantage during employment. And so we also try to help them navigate that complex system with LNI or even speaking up. A lot of folks get threatened to get deported when all they just want is really to work for their families, for themselves. But then they start getting paid less than $10 an hour. Sometimes they don't get paid.
Oh, wow.
And so it's really
So exploitation is still rampant.
Yeah, we still see it every day. Even folks that we trust, we end up having clients that, hey, they don't want to pay me. And so we have to really be very intentional with who we work with.
Geez, but for organizations like Mi Centro, there might not really be anywhere else your clients can really turn to.
Right. Mi Centro, we don't have any age restrictions. We don't have any sexual orientation or gender restrictions. So we really do work with all ages, different types of religion. Of course, our focus are Spanish speakers because there's not a lot of organizations.
Yeah.
But what's concerning to us that lately we've been having calls from people who are English speakers who do have a status here in the States because other agencies are not able to help them.
Oh my.
And so now we're not just serving Latinos, we're also serving folks who could get other benefits elsewhere, but the doors are not open for them. And so we're trying our best to continue with advocacy for them. But it's been really hard, especially on our case managers for their mental health. We're seeing a lot where, it's not just crisis moments, but also financial stability, getting threats from their landlords, or just not being able to find employment, whether they have status or not.
So outright discrimination, racial discrimination, probably just at what meets the eye.
Right.
Unabashed.
Hate crimes have definitely increased. We work with a lot of folks in shelters where they're also being attacked at the shelters. We have clients who get attacked at bus rides, so transportation is a big thing. Even just in the streets, they get targeted and then they get their stuff stolen, and a lot of it is what we're being able to offer, like their phones or their IDs. They just got that, they just received what they needed, and then they get discriminated out in the street, and then they come back and like, hey, like that one thing that was going to help them, now it's taken away from them and they have to go back to square one.
You've probably lost count of the times that's happened with your clients. What kind of times frame are we looking at here? Was this like in February? Did we see a big shift?
See, that's the thing that not a lot of people talk about. Even before Trump, there were a lot of hate crimes already happening.
Right, I'm sure.
What happened with Trump came into place is people started being more quiet. So our calls actually went down. They dropped drastically. Even the folks that were trusting us weren't able to feel like they could trust us. And then after a few months, a lot of their questions were immigration. So that is one thing that, we're trying to really focus this upcoming year is how to offer immigration assistance, just because we also know that there's a big gap. A lot of the pro bono agencies are already at capacity. The immigration is not really able to work with lawyers, and then some lawyers are also taking advantage of our community where they're just taking the money but not actually helping them. And so now we see that the gap is there where we as Mi Centro, we're doing wraparound services, but we're lacking the immigration assistance part of it. And so going back to your question, yes, the hate crimes have increased. But people are being more quiet about because they're scared of being deported. They're scared to trust the police officers. There's a lot of, yes, we're going to work with ICE. There's a lot of, but we're not actually going to work with ICE from law enforcement. And so that doesn't alleviate any type of stress or, our clients are just very worried. And so they don't really have you're going to be okay, because even we've seen even now with people with asylum, people with residency, people with DACA are getting detained at the detention center. So it's not giving them any type of answers to us, would I be okay? Because it used to be, if you have a criminal background, then, you're in trouble. But not even folks who have no criminal background are being detained. And so that's where the fear is coming in our community.
Which leads into this endless spiral of where if you've got clients who are victims of crime, they're probably too afraid to reach out to police. So there's probably crimes being committed against your clients that Tacoma Police doesn't even know about. You might know about it if they even tell you.
Yeah.
Sounds like there's a culture of just fear and silence.
And just teaching them or educating them about their rights. I mean, a lot of them have not reported and they have disclosed that to us. Well, if I say something, they're going to just deport me and leave the abuser, do whatever they're already doing. And so we really have to try to empower them, educate them. But even then, it's hard. And then when they have the confidence to make a phone call to the police station, sometimes the operators are not too friendly. And it makes it hard. Like, they have to have already their statement ready. All the information has to be ready. And mind you, a lot of our clients don't have educational background. They don't speak English as their first language, and some of them have different dialects that they're still navigating, and even Spanish is not the first language. And law enforcement does not have the best capacity of making sure that they have translators on hand, making sure that they're patient, making sure to ask the questions that it's actually helping the client being able to open up. Rather, they freeze, and then that case just closes. And so we as advocates, we do try to help them navigate, but even sometimes we're fighting against law enforcement or folks who are attorneys and lawyers, and so even advocates don't get the same respect that other folks would.
How are you?
What do you mean how I am?
I mean, this is obviously important work, but it must feel desperate.
Yeah, it's I think it hurts a lot just because it's a lot of our staff here have mixed status families. I'm a DACA recipient, and so I have mixed status family as well. And every single day, I'm very cautious. I'm in a sense thankful that I'm in this position because I know what the community needs. But also, I feel like my hands are tied because even attorneys or lawyers right now are at capacity. We don't have that assistance that we so much desperately need just to be able to focus on clients. Yes, we have the emergency money assistance, but we don't have the skills to really fight against immigration or even to fight against this current administration where honestly we just want our people to be heard, and violence is never the answer, and education is our core hearts, but it's really hard, honestly, because you're not just dealing with personal issues of like, okay, are you afraid that your family's going to be taken any time? Are they okay at work, but also just the weight of the community is, it's either we speak up or we're not speaking enough. But then by speaking out loud, then we can get targeted. And so then I have to think about not just the community, but also the staff that I work with, myself, right? And I'm having a baby soon. So that's also going to become a mixed status for me. And now I have to start thinking, well, if I get taken, do I have to start creating a family plan where I leave my kid with somebody else because I don't know the reality of DACA in the future and how that's going to turn out. So it's really, really hard.
How long have you been a DACA recipient?
I've been a DACA recipient since it started, so I believe 2018.
Okay. 18.
Yeah.
Because now they're not accepting any applicants. I mean, it's all but shut down. Mm-hmm. And all that while you were told, this is protection from deportation. This is so you can live your life with your family. You keep your nose clean, build a future. You can have a future. And what does that feel like now? Do you have a future?
I'm being hopeful and positive. So being in a mixed status families, my undocumented family really taught me to be creative and not to really much rely on the system. And that's one thing that a lot of people have misconceptions on too. Undocumented folks are not eligible to get any benefits from the states. And so we don't receive any benefits. We have to make sure we work twice as hard for what we have, right? So whether you become a business owner or not. Right now, I'm actually in grad school, and I'm hoping to finish this last year. But I'm also thinking, like, do I need to think about plan B of being a small business owner? Do I need to think about becoming a contractor in the future? Mi Centro is very supportive of me, very protective of me. But at the same time, we just don't know what those laws are going to look like in the future. And so I'm putting in my best foot forward. But I'm hoping to finish my last year of grad school, and I'm really hoping to push. And I hope that whatever this chaos is can really teach us to continue to be strong and creative, and continue to just fight for our families and peace, because all we wanted from the beginning is the American dream, right? The American dream to me is safety, love, in a place where crime does not exist. It's just, I'm tired of being quiet. I remember back in college, I was so ready to drop out when Trump first came in. And I'm like, well, I can't protest, because then what if I get in a prison, go to prison or whatever? Like, that's just going to make it worse for my status in the future. And my family, like, it's gonna be hard on them, right? And I remember I asked one of my professors was like, hey, why are you not turning your work? Why are you not coming to school? And I said, honestly, what am I doing here? If I can't work, what am I doing here? If DACA is about to end because they're threatening us with that, then why am I at school? I'm just here for nothing. And he said, there's so many unknowns, but the best way to fight back is to be educated. And the best way to fight back is to be places where you can make a change. You can make a change in policy. You can make change in how you serve people. You can make change in, different ways where you don't have to be in the front lines in a protest, for an example. And that's what resonated with me a lot in being able to push myself to be motivated, to remind myself that my parents brought me here so I could go to college, something that they didn't have the opportunity to do so. And so that's what keeps me grounded, right? My family, but also just the words that my professor said. And that's what I've done ever since. Now I'm working in a nonprofit where I know I can make a change, and I can continue to do so. It's hard work, a lot of pressure, a lot of gray hairs, but the work is continuing. We're one of the first ones. We don't know what the future is going to hold for the rest of the United States. First is coming against us as immigrants, getting rid of us or holding us in cages. I feel like it's a cage to be in a detention center. They're holding us against our will. Then they're going to go after Medicaid. A lot of folks who are older, who have disabilities, are already being affected by it. I'm scared for people who are not even part of my culture, because I know the need that is there. I know that just being able to get treatment without having to care about how much to pay for that treatment is going to be so overwhelming. And then who's going to be affected? Our elders are going to be affected. Our single moms are going to be affected. Our kids. Now we're seeing a lot of mass shootings. There is more to this chaos than just what immigrants are bringing here to the United States.
The people I've met to produce this content really strike me as quite brave. Jamie Ortiz, so brave to step in front of that camera and share her experience, talk about the crisis she's now facing with her husband detained by ICE. And Priscilla Desiderio, also quite brave. The DACA recipient working at Mi Centro, brave enough to share her experience working with this targeted population and sharing really her fears about what's next for her. Thank you very much for spending your time with me here on the Steve on the Street podcast. You could be doing a million other things, and your support just by listening, I really appreciate it. And don't forget to join us on the broadcast for Northwest Now on KBTC Public Television, Friday nights at 7:30. Northwest Now covers the people and places and the stories and communities that make this place home. The Steve on the Street podcast is produced by KBTC Public Television, and it's a public affairs program, Northwest Now. Once again, I'm your host of the podcast, reporter and photojournalist Steve Kiggins. Thanks again for being here. Until next time, cheers.